On a small, quiet planet called Zenthera, the sun shone brightly in the sky. The trees were tall and the air was fresh. In a peaceful village, people went about their daily lives. They farmed, fished, and played with their children. They had no idea that danger was coming. Far above, in a massive spaceship, alien slavers watched the village through special lenses. The slavers were big and strong, with green skin and sharp claws. They were ruthless and did not care about anyone but themselves. Their leader, Commander Zorak, grinned as he pointed at the villagers. "Those primitives will make us a lot of money," he said, his voice deep and cold. The slavers prepared for the attack. They activated their cloaking devices, making their ship invisible to the villagers below. They launched small drones to scan the area and locate the best time to strike. Everything was quiet as they waited. Meanwhile, in the village, Captain Ryan and his team of Special Forces operatives were on a secret mission. They had come to Zenthera to gather information about the slavers. They knew the slavers had been raiding other planets, capturing people and selling them like goods. Ryan's team was trained to deal with threats, but they had not expected to find themselves in danger so quickly. The team was hiding near the edge of the village, watching the villagers. They wore dark clothing that helped them blend in with the shadows. Captain Ryan whispered to his team, "We must keep an eye on the slavers. If we see anything suspicious, we act fast." Suddenly, the sky grew dark as the slaver ship descended. The villagers looked up, confusion and fear on their faces. Before anyone could react, the ship unleashed a blinding light that engulfed the village. People screamed as they were lifted off the ground, their bodies suspended in the air. The light was a tractor beam, pulling them toward the ship. Captain Ryan's heart raced as he saw the chaos unfold. "Stay low," he shouted to his team. They tried to remain hidden, but the bright light was too powerful. One by one, they were pulled into the air along with the villagers. In the ship, the slavers cheered. "We have captured them!" Commander Zorak shouted. The aliens felt proud, thinking they had easily taken down a weak species. Little did they know that they had captured trained soldiers instead of helpless villagers. Inside the ship, Captain Ryan and his team regained their senses. They found themselves in a dark cell, surrounded by other frightened captives. Ryan quickly assessed the situation. "Stay calm, everyone. We are not just ordinary humans. We are special forces," he said, his voice steady and firm. The captives looked at him with hope in their eyes. They had heard stories about brave soldiers who fought against the slavers. "What do we do now?" one villager asked, trembling with fear. "We plan our escape," Ryan replied. "We cannot let these aliens sell us like goods. We must fight back." The team nodded, determined to take action. As the hours passed, the team began to communicate in whispers. They shared their training, their strengths, and their ideas for escape. They knew they had to act quickly before the slavers realized their mistake. Meanwhile, the slavers celebrated their victory. They boasted about their capture and planned to sell the primitives in the galactic market. Commander Zorak felt invincible. He didn't understand that his prisoners were not weak at all. He had no idea that they were trained to survive and fight. Back in the cell, Captain Ryan and his team made a plan. They would wait for the right moment to strike. They would use their skills to take down the slavers and escape. Little did the aliens know that their greatest mistake was underestimating the power of humanity. With hope in their hearts and determination in their minds, Captain Ryan and his team prepared for the battle ahead. They were not just ordinary captives. They were warriors, ready to show the slavers what humans could really do. Captain Ryan opened his eyes to darkness. His head throbbed as he tried to sit up. Confused and disoriented, he looked around. He found himself in a small, cold cell. The air was damp and the smell was terrible. The walls were made of metal, and there were bars blocking his escape. He could hear muffled voices outside, but he couldn't see anything. As his vision cleared, he noticed his team members scattered around the cell. They were groggy but alive. Ryan took a deep breath and called out softly, "Team, are you okay?" Slowly, his teammates stirred. Private Malik rubbed his eyes and sat up. "Captain, what happened?" he asked, his voice shaky. "We were captured by the slavers," Ryan replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "We need to regroup and figure out a plan." Sergeant Emma, a tough soldier with short hair and a determined look, spoke up. "We can't let them sell us like cattle. We must fight back." Her words sparked a fire in the hearts of the other captives. As Ryan and his team shook off the confusion, they began to assess their situation. They were in a small cell with just enough space for 5 people to sit. The only light came from a small window high above them, casting shadows on the cold metal floor. They could hear the distant sounds of alien voices, laughter, and clanking machinery. Ryan stood up and walked to the bars, peering through. He could see a long hallway filled with guards and strange creatures. The slavers were busy with their work, completely unaware of the danger they faced. He felt a surge of anger. "They think we are just weak humans," he muttered. "They have no idea who they are dealing with." Malik joined him at the bars. "What do you see?" he asked, his voice low. "Guards everywhere," Ryan replied. "But there might be a chance for us to escape if we act smart." As they spoke, the door to the cell suddenly creaked open. A tall, muscular alien stepped inside. Its skin was green, and it had sharp teeth that glinted in the dim light. The alien glared at the humans, a sneer on its face. "You will work for us now," it said, its voice booming. "You are nothing but slaves." Ryan felt his blood boil. "We are not your slaves," he shouted back, surprising even himself with his courage. The alien laughed, a cruel sound that echoed in the small space. "You think you are strong? You are weak just like the others. You will do as you are told." With that, the alien turned and walked away, leaving the door open. "Now is our chance," Emma whispered urgently. "We can't waste time." "We need to move." Ryan nodded, and they quickly gathered their thoughts. "We must find a way out of here and take back control," he said. "But we need to work together. We have trained for this." As they waited, Ryan felt a sense of unity among his team. They had been through tough situations before, and this was just another challenge. They could not let fear consume them. "Let's use our training," Ryan suggested. "We'll sneak out and gather information about the ship. We need to find weapons and plan our next move." The team nodded in agreement. They knew they had to act quickly. If they remained in the cell for too long, the slavers would realize they were not ordinary humans. As they moved stealthily toward the open door, Ryan led the way, keeping an eye out for any guards. They slipped into the hallway, the cold metal beneath their feet sending shivers up their spines. The ship was vast and full of corridors. The sounds of alien voices echoed around them. They could hear the slavers discussing their plans, laughing at their easy captures. Ryan and his team hid behind a corner, their hearts racing. "We need to find a control room or a weapons locker," he whispered. "Stay quiet and follow my lead." With determination, the team moved through the ship, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. They were no longer just captives. They were warriors, determined to turn the tables on their captors. Captain Ryan and his team stood quietly in the dark corridor of the slaver ship. They could hear the distant voices of the guards, but they were determined to find a way out. "We need to stick together," Ryan said in a low voice. "If we get separated, we might not make it back." The team nodded, their faces set with determination. They had trained for moments like this, and now it was time to put that training into action. They moved down the corridor, staying close to the walls, keeping to the shadows. As they walked, they passed several doors. Ryan pressed his ear against one. "I think there are guards inside," he whispered. They couldn't risk a confrontation just yet. They needed to find weapons first. Suddenly, Emma pointed to a door marked Armory. "There! That's where we need to go." Ryan smiled, sensing their chance. "Let's get in and out quickly. We'll grab what we can and head back." He approached the door and found it slightly ajar. He gently pushed it open, revealing a room filled with weapons of all shapes and sizes. Blasters, knives, and strange alien gadgets were neatly arranged on shelves. The sight filled them with hope. "Grab what you can!" Ryan ordered, and they rushed inside. Each member of the team quickly picked up a weapon. Ryan took a blaster, feeling its weight in his hand. "This is what we need to fight back," he said, his voice steady. As they filled their pockets with weapons, Ryan heard voices approaching. "Hurry! We don't have much time." They moved swiftly, gathering everything they could. Just as they finished, the door swung open, and two slaver guards stepped inside, surprised to see the humans. "Stop right there!" one of the guards shouted, raising his weapon. Without thinking, Ryan raised his blaster and fired. The shot hit the first guard, who fell to the ground. Emma quickly followed, taking down the second guard with a swift strike. They worked together like a well-oiled machine. "Let's go!" Ryan shouted, leading the way out of the armory. They raced back down the corridor, adrenaline pumping through their veins. As they rounded a corner, they encountered more guards. "Over here!" Ryan yelled, pointing to a side corridor. They ducked into it just in time, narrowly avoiding a volley of blaster fire. "We need to find a way to the hangar," he said, his heart racing. They pressed on, moving quickly and quietly. The ship was alive with noise now, alarms blaring and lights flashing as the slavers realized their prisoners were escaping. Ryan could hear their shouts echoing down the corridors. "Stay focused," he urged his team. "We can't let them catch us." Finally, they reached a large door marked hangar. Ryan felt a surge of hope. "This is it," he said. He quickly punched in a code on the keypad next to the door, praying it would work. With a loud hiss, the door slid open, revealing a massive hangar filled with ships. Ryan's heart raced as he scanned the area. "We need to find a ship and get out of here," he shouted. They rushed inside, their eyes wide with excitement. In the corner, they spotted a small, sleek ship. "That one," Emma pointed. "It looks fast." They sprinted toward it, but suddenly a group of slaver guards blocked their path. The guards were armed and ready, their eyes filled with anger. "Stop right there!" one of them yelled. Ryan raised his blaster, determination etched on his face. "We will not be taken again," he shouted, his voice strong. The team formed a defensive line, ready to fight. A fierce battle erupted in the hangar. Blaster fire lit up the room as both sides fought with everything they had. Ryan moved with agility, dodging shots and returning fire with precision. His team followed his lead, working together to take down the slavers. After a fierce struggle, the last guard fell, and the hangar fell silent. "Let's get to the ship!" Ryan urged, and they rushed toward the small craft. Emma quickly began to start the ship's systems, her fingers flying over the controls. "Hurry! We need to leave before more come." Ryan glanced back, keeping an eye on the hangar entrance. He could hear distant shouts getting closer. "We're almost there," he called. With a final beep, the ship powered up. "Ready!" Emma shouted, and Ryan jumped into the pilot's seat. He punched the launch button, and the ship lifted off the ground, soaring into the vastness of space. As they flew away, Ryan took a deep breath, feeling a mix of relief and exhilaration. They had escaped the clutches of the slavers, but their journey was far from over. They were free, but they would continue to fight for those who were still trapped in darkness. Captain Ryan sat in the pilot's seat, gripping the controls of the small ship as they flew away from the slaver vessel. The vastness of space surrounded them, but the thrill of freedom was mixed with worry. "We need to regroup and plan our next move," he said, glancing at his team. Sergeant Emma, still at the console, studied the ship's scanners. "There's a nearby planet, Zephyr 7. It's uncharted, but we can lay low there for a while," she suggested. "Good idea," Ryan replied. "We can't stay here. The slavers will be searching for us." With a steady hand, Ryan adjusted the ship's course, heading toward Zephyr 7. As they entered the planet's atmosphere, they spotted a dense jungle filled with tall trees and thick foliage. "Let's land in that clearing," Emma pointed out. Ryan skillfully piloted the ship down, landing softly in the grass. They quickly disembarked, taking in the vibrant surroundings. The air was warm and humid, and strange sounds echoed in the distance. "Let's set up a perimeter," Ryan ordered, scanning the area. "We need to make sure we are safe from any slaver patrols." The team got to work, using their training to secure their position. As they set up a small camp, Ryan felt a sense of urgency. They had escaped, but the slavers would not give up easily. He knew they had to prepare for a fight. Later that evening, as they sat around a small fire, Ryan gathered his team. "We need to face the slavers head on. We can't let them keep terrorizing others," he said, his voice strong. Private Malik looked nervous. "But, Captain, they have more ships and more men." "What if we can't win?" Ryan nodded, understanding Malik's fear. "I know it's risky, but we have something they don't. Training and teamwork. We can outsmart them," Emma added. "We've already proven we can fight back. We just need a solid plan." The team spent the night discussing their strategy. They knew the slavers would be searching for them, and if they could find a way to ambush them, they might turn the tide. As dawn broke, Ryan stood up, feeling more determined than ever. "We'll scout the area, find out where the slavers are, and gather intel. Then we'll plan our attack." The team nodded in agreement, their spirits lifted. They divided into pairs and set off into the jungle. The dense trees provided cover, and they moved cautiously, using their training to stay hidden. After a few hours of searching, Ryan and Emma spotted a clearing. As they crept closer, they saw a group of slavers gathered around a small ship. They were discussing plans, unaware of the humans watching them. "This is our chance," Ryan whispered to Emma. "Let's gather as much information as we can." They listened closely, noting the slavers' plans to hunt down the escaped humans. Ryan's heart raced. The slavers were arrogant, believing that they could easily capture them again. Once they had enough information, Ryan and Emma retreated back to their camp. When they regrouped with Malik and the others, they shared what they had learned. "They plan to search the jungle for us, but they are spread out," Ryan explained. "If we can hit them while they're separated, we can take them by surprise." Malik's eyes widened with excitement. "So we're going to fight back?" "Yes," Ryan replied. "We'll use the element of surprise to our advantage. We'll split into 2 teams, one to distract them and the other to strike." With their plan set, the team prepared for battle. They made makeshift weapons and gathered supplies, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. The jungle was their ally, hiding them as they moved through the thick underbrush. As dusk fell, Ryan and his team took their positions. They waited in the shadows, hearts pounding with anticipation. They could hear the distant sounds of the slavers, their laughter ringing through the trees. Finally, the moment arrived. The distraction team, led by Emma, made noise to draw the slavers away. Ryan's team crept closer to the slaver ship, weapons ready. With a sudden shout, Emma's team charged at the slavers, catching them off guard. The air filled with the sounds of blaster fire and shouting. Ryan led his team in a quick strike, moving silently to take out the remaining guards. In the chaos of battle, Ryan felt a surge of adrenaline. They were fighting for their freedom, for every captive the slavers had ever taken. Each shot fired was a step closer to justice. As the battle raged on, Ryan knew they were making a difference. They would not be victims anymore. They were soldiers, and they were ready to reclaim their lives. The sounds of blaster fire echoed through the jungle as Captain Ryan and his team fought fiercely against the slavers. The air was thick with tension, but they had the element of surprise on their side. Ryan felt his heart racing as he moved through the trees, coordinating with his team. "Stick to the plan!" Ryan shouted, dodging behind a tree as a blaster bolt whizzed past him. He could see Emma and Malik engaging a group of slavers ahead. They were fighting hard, and Ryan knew they had to keep the pressure on. Emma ducked behind a rock and fired at a slaver, hitting him squarely in the chest. "We can't let them regroup," she yelled, her voice filled with determination. Ryan nodded, pushing forward. "Keep moving! Don't give them a chance to think!" The battle continued, and Ryan could see that they were starting to overwhelm the slavers. Many of the slavers were caught off guard, unable to cope with the skill and teamwork of the humans. Each victory fueled Ryan's confidence. As they fought, Ryan spotted a familiar figure in the chaos, a slaver captain barking orders to his men. This was the same captain who had captured them. Ryan's anger flared, and he knew he had to confront him. "Follow me!" he called to his team, charging toward the captain. The slaver captain turned just in time to see Ryan approaching. His eyes widened in surprise. "You! I thought we had you," he sneered, drawing his weapon. Ryan's heart pounded as he raised his blaster. "You thought wrong!" he shouted, firing at the captain. The shot hit its mark, and the captain staggered back, falling to the ground. The sight of their leader down sent shockwaves through the remaining slavers. "Keep pushing!" Ryan yelled to his team, feeling a rush of hope. They pressed on, taking down slaver after slaver. It was a battle for freedom, and they were determined to win. After what felt like an eternity, the last of the slavers fell. Ryan stood in the middle of the clearing, catching his breath. The jungle was quiet now, except for the sounds of their victory. "We did it!" Emma exclaimed, a wide smile on her face. Malik nodded, his eyes shining with excitement. "We really showed them!" Ryan took a moment to gather his thoughts. "This is just the beginning. We need to find any captives they may have and make sure this doesn't happen again." With renewed determination, the team began searching the area. They found several cages hidden in the bushes, each containing frightened individuals. Ryan felt a surge of compassion as he unlocked the cages, releasing the captives. "Thank you." "Thank you," the captives cried, overwhelmed with relief. Ryan smiled, feeling proud of his team and what they had accomplished. As they helped the captives to safety, Ryan noticed that some of them were fellow soldiers, captured in previous battles. They welcomed their comrades back, vowing to continue the fight together. After ensuring everyone was safe, Ryan led the group back to their ship. They were weary but filled with a sense of triumph. Ryan couldn't help but feel grateful for the teamwork and bravery of his team. Once aboard, Ryan took the pilot's seat, preparing for takeoff. "Let's get out of here," he said, his voice steady. As they soared into the sky, Ryan glanced back at the jungle they had fought so hard to escape. "We'll come back," he promised himself. "We'll make sure no one else suffers under their control." The journey home was filled with stories of bravery and laughter. The captives were grateful to be free, sharing tales of their experiences. Ryan felt a warmth in his heart as he listened. They were not just survivors. They were warriors, ready to take a stand. As the ship broke through the atmosphere and into the stars, Ryan looked out at the endless expanse. "We did it together," he said to his team, "and we'll keep fighting." In that moment, Ryan felt a strong bond with his comrades. They had faced danger and come out stronger. They were no longer just a team, they were a family. The stars twinkled brightly, a reminder that their journey was far from over. But for now, they had achieved victory. They had fought against the darkness and emerged into the light. And as long as they stood together, they knew they could face whatever challenges lay ahead.